Good morning.
Good morning.
And how is everyone this lovely morning?
Yay.
Well, I'm going to leave you to start with in an opening meditation. So I'll ask our good friend Anthony to take us in.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So just go within. Be still and know that we are part of the divine presence of good and God in this universe, expressing through us, by means of us, uniquely as us in our own individual way. So as we go into this, I declare for myself and you that I am the principle of peace within me. I am the manifestation of love within me. My mind is poised in peace and beauty. All sense of fear or doubt is gone. I rest in calm trust and rely on the law of spirit to bring good into my experience. I contend with none, argue with none, and filled with the wonderful peace and light. There is no uncertainty about my future and no fear as a result of my past. I live in the eternal now, which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me. Peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection. So as we accept these words, we take them within and know that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth within each of us. So let us take a few moments to contemplate the beauty of life's expression that I know as me. So let us commit to bringing that beauty that we are into full expression in and around and through us.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I
enjoy his selection of music for a particular day. And I wonder, how did he get inside my head? It's always just been like that for years, hasn't it? It just works out that way. And you know, really, before we start, I gotta go back to the song there. I decide what matters to me. It's my decision to be in the flow. I decide what to let in, and I decide what's got to go. So, with this topic for this month, behold beauty everywhere. Everywhere, folks. Everywhere. And my topic, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. That's kind of a loaded subject, isn't it? There's a lot of different ways that you can look at this. For example, you could say, oh, that's a beauty of a car you got. Or, that's a beauty of a black eye you have. Or, that's a beauty of a meow that Stefan has. Or I could say, hey, that's a beauty of the topic, it's sarcasm. So there's a lot of way that you could use the words and throw it around. So I got 3 ideas I'd like to leave with you to focus in on this concept differently, because it's hard sometimes to talk about it when we're talking about it in terms of ourselves. For example, the topic here is revealing our beauty and seeing the beauty in life. So this is the end of the talk, I'm doing it first. How did you start the day? Did you get up and look into the mirror this morning and with a big smile say, "Good morning, God"? Or did you look in the mirror and say, "Hey, good God, morning"? It all depends on how we see ourselves and how we look at things. You know the classic story of the Beauty and the Beast. There's always a beautiful beauty and the ugly beast. And by the way, there's thousands of versions, and they say it's been put through history and told many ways over 4,000 years. So we're going to look at it a different way. We're going to look at it in the mirror. The beauty and the beast. Now, the key here is we all know that we see the beast in the mirror a lot. Is that true? Okay? And that's really not the truth of our being, because within what we see is the beautiful expression of the living experience of the divine in us, through us, by means of us. Oh yeah, well, you wouldn't say that if you know what I've done. No, you wouldn't if you know what I've done, but we're not talking about what you've done, because that awful eternity of the past or what's to come in the future have no relevance today. None. The only relevance today is how we choose to accept what it is that we see in the mirror. Michelangelo is probably one of my favorite people from history. And he could see the beauty in a piece of rock. He was different than any other sculptor that there's ever been, because he did it differently. All he did was a little sketch. Then he went and found the rock where that sketch was in. Talk more about that in a minute. All the other sculptors always build a plaster of Paris model so they could get it right. Because, you know, if you make a mistake out of a chunk of rock, it's hard to fix. You can't. He's the only one that never done that. They still do that today. But he would get that in his mind, inside of him. He would see it, and I went to the quarry and I saw what he looked at, however many years ago it was, and he would walk around there until he found the piece of stone where that image was in it, that beauty was in it. And then he said the rest was easy. All I did was chip away the part that wasn't there. Now, I'm not much of an artist or that, but I got to tell you, when I went to Florence, and I saw David there, I don't think I could pick my jaw up off the floor. There was just something about it that was so profound. But there was something else more profound than that I saw. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And they call them the 4 prisoners or the 4 slaves. And really, it was 4 pieces that he never got a chance to finish because he was summoned from the confines that are self-imposed in life. And if you ever saw these 4, I was just absolutely blown away because it looks just like that. They're trying to come out of the stone. And so you see that beauty can only be appreciated in the eyes of the beholder. It can only be appreciated by the individual. And in order to appreciate more of what we've got in life, we have to know what we're looking for, and we have to know what we're looking with. So always remember, as we're going around, our challenge is to be real clear on what we're looking with at life out there, and you can see beauty in the most amazing different ways. Another idea here that's very important about beauty is to get it clear. Beauty on one level is a judgment. That's a physical level. And a deep appreciation on another level, that's the spiritual level for the same object. So we deem it through physical and we see it through spiritual. Ernest Holmes said, "No one has seen intelligence. We experience it. No one has ever seen causation. We see what it does and we deal with its effects. We do not see beauty. The artist feels beauty and depicts it as best he can, and the results of his effort is what we call the beautiful." So the beautiful is really the manifestation of beauty. Beauty is an internal thing. It's within the individual. And there's a multitude of different ways that it can express, and each are a beautiful expression of what's within. And even you, even me. Okay? We've got to get ourselves into that category because it brings a richness to us about how we see life. You know, one of the things that when this topic comes up, I spent just over 30 years teaching at SAIT in the School of Business. And I had thousands of students run through my life, but there was this one young lady in particular, Vero was her name. And she struck me more with an impact than most anybody I've ever run across. And for a particular reason. This young lady was strikingly beautiful physically. Like, I mean, unbelievable. It didn't matter what she dressed or what she wore. Right from the top of her head down to the tip of her toes, she was absolutely gorgeous. Okay? So put that over there. However, there was something about her that was even more beautiful than that I was astounded by. And I watched to see what happened over the couple of years I knew her. And that was her inner self. She was not interested in relationships other than friends. She was not like that at all. And she conducted herself and carried herself, and her persona was like that. The beautiful soul that she was as a person expressed in all that they did. And the thing that was so amazing was seeing all these young men come up with their drill and routine. And boy, there were lots of them. I've seen dozens of them. And you know, they did their drill and routine, and she just responded as the bright, bubbly person that she was, and just kind of blew off the idea that they were hitting on her, because she knew that, and that happened all the time. But that wasn't even her demeanor, right? And I saw with my eyes the transformation that she had on people who approached her with one thing in mind and were absolutely stunned. And these guys, they just turned around and they walked away and they didn't know what was going on. But they just all of a sudden weren't interested in her in that way. They saw her as a person. And that was because of what she emanated to give God. And by the way, she was a champion salsa dancer. Is. Very, very good. Won competitions and everything. And had a couple of guys that she was partners with. And became very good friends with the one. And they were partners for several years. And then she opened up to the idea of a relationship. She was ready. Lo and behold, she fell in love with her friend that she'd been dancing with for years. And they're married now and just having a gas. I follow them on Facebook. But the point I'm making is so many people make a judgment based on the physical. And they don't go for what's real, the beauty within. If you go for what's real, the beauty within, then the outer is going to be beautiful to you automatically. It doesn't matter. Because that's where it's coming from. It's not coming from the judgment of the physical. We got to get real clear on that. She was so clear on herself and what she was about that emanated to all the people around her. I was really inspired by her. Because I thought at first, well, it's just an act. But I watched her, and it's not. It just was who and what she really is. So very, very wonderful example for me. So we got to get through that idea of looking at just beauty being on the physical. We've got to know that it emanates from the spiritual first. And so if we come from looking at ourselves as being beautiful, look more for the beauty rather than the beast in the mirror, then we'll be able to come more from looking at people and drawing the beauty in them out in their own unique way. No, we don't all have to look like we're a cover page person. It's not about that. But there's some people I know. I ran into a lady that sang a song last week or a few weeks ago. And she sang, and I didn't know, but it was her favorite tune. And it was Me and Bobby McGee. And for her, it wasn't just a song to sing. For her, it was that beauty within inside of her expressing through that song. And I was there, and I was listening to it, and it teared me right up. I've never been teared up by a song like that before. Especially not one like that. But it teared me up because it took me back 52 years to the time I heard the lady that brought that song out sing it live, Janis Joplin. And she took me right back there, expressing the beauty of who she was through the song that she loved and what it did to me. Unbelievable. If you'd have told me that would happen to me just because I listened to a song, I would have told you, yeah, I need some more of that stuff. It sounds pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's all about. So it's compassion. I come across this from the compassion side that we need to have in ourselves. You look into the mirrors and sometimes you see a mess. But you don't see the lives you touched or the people you've saved. You don't see all the love you've given freely or the extraordinary memories you made. You are a book of beautiful moments and feelings. Isn't that a good way to look at yourself? I am a moment of beautiful books and experiences and feelings. Wow. And so the next idea and the last idea is seeing beauty everywhere. And it's really interesting because I was out hiking the other day, going through my favorite trail, and it was lush grass and beautiful yellow dandelions right there, which are very important because they're the first flower and it gets the bees going and all of that. And I just experienced the dandelion like I've never experienced a dandelion before because of the eyes I was looking at it with and the place that I've come to in my life. And I've been there hundreds of times on that same trail, and I never felt that way about a dandelion before. And I go, wow, isn't that interesting? And then I go home, and I go down my street, and there's a yard, all full of a lawn full of dandelions, with gone to seed already. And it looked terrible. I go, what a mess! Oh, are you following me with that? It's still part of the dandelion, but what was the difference because of the beauty and the experience I felt as opposed to, I don't like this? Well, you see, that was the human part. That's the physical part, making the judgment. Now, all I needed to do is take myself back to that position where I was earlier before I got there, and then bring myself to that point, and I would have seen it totally different. Boy, that would really sock me between the eyes, you know? And that's what we want to do. The other song there's beauty everywhere and everything's a blessing. Thank you, Anthony. That's wonderful. So I've really got into a situation of beauty right now, and I'm excited, I'm pumped. Oh, you wouldn't believe what's happening. I'm growing lettuce. I've become a lettuce master. So I got this at different stages, and I got this growing in my kitchen. I brought some grow lights. I even sit down and I make it and put the tweezers that look 2 individual seeds so I don't have to thin them. You know, all of that. I'm the lettuce master. If you'd have told me I'd be a lettuce master last year, I'd have helped you get professional help. I mean, who would do that? But I cannot believe the excitement I'm getting over lettuce. And so that means that let us get excited about everything that we're doing. Because there is so many neat things. And of course, we brush off the little things that we like. We just brush it off. Then we get all wrapped up in all of that stuff with judgment about what's going on out there. Especially when we see a zit on our face. You could come unglued instead of seeing the beauty. So the challenge that we've got, folks, is to go back to that affirmation that Myrtle Fillmore gave us. And remember that beauty and appreciation are inborn, so are all the qualities that make up for the transformation in the outer world. Okay? And one last idea I want to leave you with, and this will go with what Lara is doing with the healing session. Is a little quote I come across. It's, remember, healing also means taking responsibility for the role you play in your own suffering. So you want to get that with life to help you see the beauty. That pain is a human experience. Suffering is a choice. You can't help the pain, but you can do something about the suffering, how you're going to suffer with it. That's within our domain. And so that's one of the main things. If we could deal with our suffering, and suffering can be our rotten, stinking thinking too, so don't think it's, oh, I'm suffering because that happened to me. It's something that can be within ourselves. So we want to get back to that point of knowing that life happens. And it's all about how we see it, and how we see it is about how we internalize things and how we see what we really are. So you don't have to do anything to be beautiful, ladies. You don't need 2 hours in the spa every day to look beautiful. All you got to do is just get out of bed before you go into the washroom and look at that mirror. You're beautiful already. For beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So I see there, I see within myself the beauty expressing uniquely as each one of us in our own special way, and that is totally valid. It's 100% okay, and I know it to be so, and so it is.